Dee is a complete mess, eating extremely stale cake and just plain giving up on life, making the gang realise that after many years of being mean, they finally broke her. Charlie, Frank and Mac encourage her to get on stage and use her depression as a source of comedy. Dennis disagrees, saying that what she really needs is to find a man that would be willing to settle down with her.
Now, I'm not talking about a smart man, not a handsome man, but a very, very average, if not below average man, to take you off of our hands forever.
She ends up gaining quite a following, with a loyal crowd who seem to eat up all her crude humour about her dirty undercarriage, which sometimes veers into nonsensical jokes.
The crabs have machine guns, that makes sense.
And I love how nervous she gets when she finally gets her shot at the big time, going live on Conan O'Brien. But she knows that her material's getting stale, having to recycle the same old jokes, and so her lack of confidence gets her gagging again. She's getting amped up, ready to go on stage, but there's a surprise in store for her.
The joke's on you!
Yep, Frank paid a crazy amount of money to set her up for this big humiliation, with the end goal of making her realise that her life could always be worse, so she shouldn't have been so mopey before.
Oh, God, you sons of bitches! And there she goes!
Side note, I of course enjoyed seeing Hugh Babineau and Dr. Taub from House. This is easily one of the meanest and cruel things the gang has ever done to Dee. This one I find to be very easy to rewatch, and the payoff never gets old. Caitlin does a fantastic job at leading the story here. Nothing bad to say about this one, but really it is another middle to upper middle one. Being fun, but nothing too special. Going at 41.
Started blasting. Bang! Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed.
What's up with this weird 2 in the title? Is it supposed to be like that Dumb and Dumber 2 joke? Well, anyway, the opening scene is a notable meme, with Frank recounting how he fended off some muggers.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang! Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
This whole piece was a stock market manipulation move, scaring the public into shopping for guns at Gunther's. Wow, nice sign, scrub. I remember my first day on MS Paint. The rest of the gang are totally unaware of what Frank's doing, and they set off on their own missions to either advocate for gun ownership, or in Mac's case a sword, or to prove how easy it is for anyone to walk into a store and buy a gun, with Dennis and Dee being proved wrong on every single attempt, due to them having shady backgrounds.
You've been denied.
What? That's ludicrous. Why?
You've been institutionalized.
Me?
Yeah.
What? I mean, one time.
Or just plain stupid in their approach.
How about I just take it, huh? Because I'm a maniac with a gun, and there's nothing you can do about it.
The reveal of the gang being basically sheep, feeding into Frank's media scare, is what makes this Gun Fever episode much more enjoyable than the first. Makes me wonder how much of this stock manipulation actually happens in our world. Seems to be if you have enough influence and money, you can scare people into buying anything, and I suspect that right now AI learning machines are trying to replace entertainers like me, and the only way to stop it is to support me on Patreon. I also really enjoyed the scenes where we see that head teacher again from the Band Dee Reynolds episode, and he's trying desperately to get Charlie and Mac to leave him and the school alone, but of course they won't take the hint. So yeah, this episode I really vibe with, enough to place it higher on the chart, but not too crazy high, going at number 27.
There is a spider, spider. It's deep in my soul.
If I had a tally showing the most rewatched, this one would be up there. The gang are frustrated at never being nominated for Philadelphia's Best Bar Award, but it turns out they could have been if they just filled out the paperwork and paid the small entry fee.
Sent you the form many times in the past, and as I recall, it always comes back covered in fecal matter, urine, and racial slurs.
Oh.
To feel out their competition, they go to the current top-rated bar, and it's the polar opposite to Paddy's. Everyone is nice, it's bright and cheery, and their gang has a fun and playful dynamic, kind of like a sitcom such as Friends, a concept that the gang can't stomach.
Thanks. You're so sweet.
What in the hell is happening?
What are they doing?
After polishing off this bar's famous cocktails, the gang realise this is precisely the type of bar that they need to be to win an award, which means they're going to have to do a whole lot of faking. And I love this part where they're trying to mask these hideousness with these super bright lights and massively overdone makeup.
Loving these lights, you guys. I am glowing like an angel over here.
Completely missing the point of what the competition calls for, Charlie's written his own song about paddies, and it's a great reminder of Charlie Day's talents.
It's the place I go where the beer is cheap and the lights are low. It's Paddy's Pub.
The man can act, he can make you laugh, and he plays multiple instruments, and isn't a bad singer either.
I like life in Paddy's Pub.
When the gang fail to keep up the facade, Charlie plays a new song that feels more like his authentic self, where he loves singing about ghouls and creepy crawlies.
There is a spider, spider, it's deep in my soul.
A song which veers into his feelings of wanting to get rid of this phony crowd.
I just wanna tell you all, go yourself.
I feel totally ashamed to admit this, but it took me up until recently to realise that this guy Z is also Tyrese from The Walking Dead. There's something so funny to me about both of these bars being exaggerated versions of reality, where Paddy's represents the ugly side of humanity and Suds represents an idyllic version that, try as they might, the gang can't pretend to relate to.
Spit! Spit! Hey, you! What is wrong with you people?
All of this is just a fantastic time, which is kind of how I feel about Storm of the Century. Being objective, this one is a bit more of a funnier story, so it's going above it as the new number 10.
Come here. I gotta get out of here. Hurry up.
This one isn't a bad one, and I wouldn't say that I skip it on my binges, but I will say that I don't think it's anything special. Dee's trying to get the gang to buy into a pyramid scheme, although she's in denial about it being a pyramid scheme. Dennis and Mac believe that if they were the ones being pitched to, they would have won the 3 sets of golf clubs without buying into the scheme. But then the guy convinces them to buy into a timeshare instead.
You got. You thought we were a bunch of suckers, but guess what?
God.
We're not. We just bought 3 weeks of a timeshare.
Personal anecdote here. A friend of mine was involved in one of these type of companies called Herbalife, and he got me to go along to one of their presentations, which I kid you not felt very similar to this parody one that Dee gives.
The success of the Invigoron system is largely due to the simplicity of its origins. Using a multi-tiered multi-level marketing Invigoron system.
Now, I'm not going to go on record and accuse Herbalife of being a pyramid scheme, but in my opinion it sure felt like one. And the whole time that I was sitting there through the presentation, I was just itching to get out, and I'm so glad I didn't get sold on their sales pitch. All the while as the gang are trying to figure out if they're being scammed, Frank has been stuck in this children's climbing frame. He has no idea how he wound up here, and despite trying to advise the gang on how to get out of the scheme, they decide to leave him in there.
We'll come back when we need you again. That's called leverage. That's business talk. Yeah, I thought you were good at that stuff.
The kids are coming. What?
I know.
The kids.
They eventually start suspecting that Frank is actually a part of the scheme, and is only pretending to be stuck. But no, he actually has nothing to do with this. He's legit stuck in this coil. It was great to see the Maniac back in the show, but unfortunately this will be his last appearance due to Roddy Piper's passing. Again, rip to this legend.
Loud noises make the squirrels go in my head, and I don't fight in the ring anymore, but I still fight with the demons in the Maniac's head.
The episode had some good moments, but yeah, overall, not one I really vibe with. Very much a middle zone one at 54.
You guys need to start greasing some dudes or I'm gonna freak out, all right? I'm gonna freak out and I'm gonna add another day.
The next 4 episodes are going to cause me trouble, as I love them all dearly, so we're going to be upset in the top 20. This episode is a concept that I would like to see happen for the entire gang, where they have to tolerate one of the gang's way of life for an entire day, doing so without complaint, otherwise another day gets added. Today is Mac Day.
The first day, God said, let there be Mac.
An entire day of activities centered around his loves of religion, karate, being a badass, and men's bodies.
Because we're gonna grease up these beefcakes.
No. No. Come on.
Take it easy,
Frank,
you better take it easy.
Joining the gang today is the one-time appearance of Country Mac, played by Sean William Scott. At first, Mac is stoked to have him here, but soon comes to resent him when the gang start liking him way more than OG Mac, as Country Mac is actually willing to be the badass that Mac pretends to be. Instead of staging a jump off the bridge, he just goes ahead and does it.
Whoa! Holy shit! Oh my god! How did that look badass, dude? I cannot believe you jumped. Whoa! That's...
Every step of Mac's scheduled day is hilarious, but it also does have some character progression, where the gang finally have an open acknowledgement that even though he's still in denial, Mac is gay.
I know we've never said this as a group, but
Max
What,
gay.
Max gay?
yeah, Max gay.
Hey,
One of the funniest scenes is them all getting high from Country Mac's weed, where they have an epiphany that Mac is the only reason that they hate a lot of cool things about life.
I hate Project Badass, and like, I hate God.
Yes.
But like, I realize, you know what I really hate? Is Mac.
Yes.
I love how red they've made their eyes, even if they did go a bit OTT with Dee's. She looks like an infected from 28 Days. The gang want him to stay forever, but after agreeing to join, he randomly falls off his bike and dies. The funeral scene is short and sweet, and for such a beloved character, you'd think the gang would give him a proper funeral, but as it's officially now Frank Day,
R.I.P. Country Mac.
I could go on forever about this one. It's a classic and I love it. I can't say in good confidence that it's number 1, but it's absolutely in the top 5. Number 4 is where it belongs. This is going to be a contender for the number 1 spot. You could not write a more perfect way of demonstrating the gang's selfishness and egotistical nature. They're in a 7-Eleven type place, but they quickly hide when a thief comes in holding a gun to the cashier, and the episode shows each of their dream sequences as to how they believe they would handle the situation. Starting with Mac, who of course imagines himself as being a kick-ass ninja who takes out the entire Yakuza before being killed by a ninja star.
Mac, listen to me. We're sorry for doubting your awesomeness. I can't live without you.
Then his soul ascends to heaven, where everyone, including God, is jacked. Now normally I wouldn't show you every scenario, but in the case of the gang saves the day, not a single one can be skipped. Dee's one is fantastically funny, showing how after she saves the day, she goes into witness protection, as she's an expert at playing characters, such as this British butler.
Something tells me I'm gonna be here a long time.
Why is that?
Your sweater's on backwards.
Her performance earning her the romantic interests of her celebrity crush Josh Groban, who blessed this man for appearing on the show and giving us this hilarious song Glazing D.
Blonde hair, she's gorgeous, not like a bird.
Next up is Dennis, who gets shot in the head and wakes up in a mostly paralysed condition. And I love this line of dialogue where the doctor's trying to reassure him about his friends being his support circle.
With a lot of hard work and the support of your friends, appears they've left.
His fantasy is that his personal carer is Jackie Donato, who sticks with him through his miraculous recovery. And I love how the show doesn't try to hide the obvious body double of Dennis doing this crazy trick on the pommel horse, as we know this is all in his imagination. The very funny twist then comes when Jackie ends up being paralysed, and upon hearing that in the accident her breasts got totally destroyed, Dennis smothers her with a pillow. So damn dark, but you gotta love it. Next up is Frank, whose dream is very simple and short. He sneaks off to eat the entire stand of hot dogs, while in the background everyone's getting shot.
Alright, the girl's dead, but we can still save the others.
It's simple brilliance, as the only reason he came to this store is because they sell the best hot dogs, and that's been the only thing on his mind throughout this whole standoff.
I will shoot you in the teeth. Give me the money.
Last but certainly not least is Charlie, whose dream is of course less about saving the day and more about being with the waitress, in this incredibly well done parody of Disney's Up, perfectly blending the comedy of Always Sunny with the bittersweetness of Up Story. The music too was such a great homage. They repackaged the emotional journey of Up in this comparatively short amount of time for this wonderful parody. Everyone who worked on this sequence has my undying appreciation. This is art. Now for the big payoff. The gang of course do not save the day. They instead loot the store and make a run for it.
The big bills. Underneath, give me the big bills.
The variety of this episode, making it feel like a fresh experience while still being in the spirit of Sunny, makes it a perfect episode for me. Like I said at the start, you couldn't make a more perfect encapsulation of the gang's selfishness. I really can't praise this one enough. That's why for me, it's taking the #1 spot.
I just wanna be pure.
The gang are prepping for a Boys to Men competition, where if they win they get to be their tribute act or something. It's this scene and another scene of them singing a different Boys to Men song.
It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
That got me to finally check out the OG song, and it's super good. Get this on your playlist immediately. Frank has news of a flu outbreak in Philadelphia, which they need to protect themselves from by going into quarantine. Dennis agrees as being sick would ruin their vocals. Frank goes way overboard in enforcing the quarantine rules, locking them into the bathroom when he catches them breaking a rule.
That's not true. You rat! This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I feel fine.
It gets to a point where he starts obsessing with cleanliness, honing in on how gross the human body is. Which leads us to this wonderful moment, where he's covered his entire body in sanitizer.
I just wanna be pure.
God, what are we gonna do about this?
While locked in the bathroom, the gang start getting legit sick, with Dennis in denial that he's able to get sick, even though he looks like he's on the brink of death.
Does that sound like a man who needs to be in a hospital?
When they accept their fate and start drinking the booze that Charlie had stashed away, they weirdly start feeling better, leading them to the realisation that they didn't have the flu, they had alcohol withdrawal.
What do we do with that information?
What do you do with any information? You just stuff it deep down inside and keep an eye on it.
You keep it.
I'm certainly not going to stop drinking.
I mean, I physically can't.
Frank ends up in hospital for basically poisoning his body in his efforts to be totally pure. And we end with this fun moment of him realising that his nurse is covered in a gross amount of body hair.
Shit.
I love the simple, low-stakes silliness of the gang gets quarantined. I'm not going to pretend this is the greatest of all episodes, but it does belong in my top 20, going at number 20.
But the good of the scorpion is not the good of the frog, yes?
Okay, this episode's gonna be a big deal for me. Flowers for Charlie is the episode that makes me laugh like no other, and I'm gonna have to show real restraint and stay objective and not automatically place it at number 1. So this episode is a parody of a film called Flowers for Algernon, which I haven't seen, so I don't know how close to the mark it is.
I want to learn.
I think Charlie's the school's best candidate.
The gang answer an ad for a science experiment, where they're looking for the ideal person to try a get smarter pill. Charlie, having the lowest IQ of the group, is the one who gets selected.
Why don't you try the cheese under the green light, Charlie?
I want this cheese.
This pill rapidly ramps up his intelligence levels, to the point where he's beating the scientist at chess, and learning Mandarin within 2 days of practice.
I do think I'm getting it a little bit. Tagu Shema? 轻食下可以吗？叫有负的。
Frank is dead against Charlie taking these pills, as they're destroying their friendship and also Charlie's health, developing these headaches and shooting pains.
What? You got a pain? Charlie, I'm telling you, those pills are no good for you.
In an effort to bring him back, he sends in the waitress to flirt with him, but her common tongue is now very displeasing to his ears.
Great names for a nail salon. Some of them are like the Hand Whisperer or Finger Fantasy. Show that takes place in salons. Finger Fantasy.
The B story is Dee getting stuck when laying down a glue trap for a rat. It's not an interesting B story, but it is funny seeing them all getting goofy on petrol fumes.
It's a funny word.
Dumb.
Yeah, pass the gas.
Dumb.
Pass it.
Pass the gas.
The time has come for the scientists to reveal the results of this experimental drug and the crazy transformation it's had on Charlie, which now makes him speak like a British historian.
This invention, my invention, will change everything. You must excuse me.
I've grown quite weary.
When his invention is revealed to be complete nonsense, it leads the scientists to conclude that this experiment was a waste of time, as the placebo pill had no actual effect on his level of intelligence, only his level of arrogance.
The subject was perfectly ready to believe he'd learn Mandarin in 2 days. Again, this is complete gibberish.
And I've got to admit, on the first watch, Charlie did kinda have me fooled, as you might be surprised to learn that I don't know a single word of Mandarin, so for all I knew, he was legit speaking it. Being a mostly Charlie-centric episode, I guess I have to factor in that the rest of the gang don't really have an awful lot of screen time here, so can it really be a peak Sunny episode if it's not really about the whole gang? In my belief, the answer is no. Still, I love Flowers for Charlie so much that I can't in good conscience place it far away from the current top 5. On reflection, Mac Day is a better episode, so it's gonna go just under that, at number 6.
Shit.
Another naughty band episode, for the exact same reasons that I mentioned on their remake of Lethal Weapon 5. Well, now they're on to making Lethal Weapon 6, but this time they're trying to get a bank loan, so they'll have a bigger budget to make it properly. The funniest part of this parody is Mac feeling that the audience will be lost on what's happening unless he explicitly explains every scene in excruciating detail.
And that's a callback from the beginning, so it's come full circle.
We know.
And then we brought you back from the dead.
If I score on you, I don't have to come to the wedding. That's right. So all I do is score once and then I don't come to the wedding. Yes.
The rest of this parody is much more fleshed out when compared to the one before, so if that idea amuses you and you aren't too offended by the elephant in the room, then it's worth checking out. Oh wait, you can't, unless you're willing to sail the secret seas, and by that I mean purchase the DVD on eBay, which I definitely did. It's a fun episode, but maybe if I was more familiar with Lethal Weapon, I'd be getting more out of it. I do like parody stuff, and this one is a funny one, but I don't lose too much sleep over this one not being available to watch anywhere, even though I am firmly against censorship, and I believe wholeheartedly that it should be available to stream somewhere. This one's going at 68, and I don't feel bad about that at all.
My room's on fire. Why is my room on fire?
The gang realise they've made so many enemies that it's become near on impossible for them to organise their highly specific plans for fun. Like, they always go to this video rental store, but now it's owned by the McPoyles, who very much blame them for Liam losing an eye in the Wedding Massacre episode.
You are not welcome in this store. Your video renting days are over! Oh, come on, don't do that, dude.
The gang have organised a house party, inviting everyone who has beef with them so they can finally squash this beef. The gang refuse to apologise for their actions, believing that hosting this Thanksgiving dinner should be enough for them to agree to move on. This dinner scene is the best part of the episode for me, with none of the guests understanding the spirit of what's happening here, and instead applauding people when they make their disturbing confessions.
Hey Frank, I'm giving this guy a handy under the table. Are you jealous?
She's mashing it.
She does that.
I'm very aroused.
Things get even more confusing and messy, leading them all into a food fight, and the gang realise they'll never squash these beefs. They also realise that Frank unintentionally started a fire, so this whole event is ruined, with the only solution being to lock them all inside and move on with their lives. It's decent enough, there's some great little gags here and there, and it was fun to see this many side characters all gathered together and interacting. The funniest beef being between Frank and their landlord Wang. Oh, and also, in the food fight, Cricket takes a hatchet to the arm. It's not one of my favourites, but it is a good time and a fun season finale, giving it the middle ground of position 55. The highest rated episode Charlie work is coming next season. It's the highest on IMDb, but it might not be my number one, so you'll have to wait and see. I super appreciate you all being here, watching me enjoy this peak show, and I'm assuming you love it too. Season 18 was just announced as being filmed, and I'm kinda hoping that will be the last season, for reasons I'll get into when it comes out. But for now, yeah, stick around, for there's much more Sunny to cover. Once again, I thank you all.